Joining us in the kitchen today is Nick Cannon.
Husband of Mariah Carey, and he hosts the 5th season of Wild 'N Out, which premieres tonight on MTV2, 11 p.m. Eastern. Let's talk to Nick. Nick, what would you identify as the toughest part of growing up for you?
Ooh, the toughest part of growing up, honestly, I mean, I grew up in like the projects, so it was, and especially in Southern California during the time of like the crack epidemic, and then moving into the early 90s where it was a heightened gang violence. So I've gotten into plenty altercations that ended in, you know, whether it was a drive-by shooting or all those things. So luckily, I mean, by the grace of God, I escaped a lot of that stuff. But high school, we got into a lot of trouble back then.
Many drive-bys, Nick. Many.
I mean, in the neighborhood, yeah. I mean, it's more that happens more than once. I mean, I would say from my freshman to my junior year, it was probably in, you know, half a dozen incidents to where it could have went the wrong way, and for some people, it did go the wrong way.
Well, you know, one thing about Lakers fans is people think about the movie stars at the games, but the Lakers own the city of Los Angeles. Like, what does the Lakers mean to you, being from L.A.?
Honestly, I'm a Clipper fan.
What? On purpose?
What you mean? Come on. The Clip show is off the chain right now. They're better than the Lakers.
Hold on, how long have you been doing this Clipper fan thing? When did you join?
Like everybody else.
No, see, first of all, you got to understand, I'm from San Diego, so I got the throwback jerseys of the San Diego Clippers.
So how do you feel about Donald Sterling?
Uh-oh.
How about, let's just put it this way. I'm happy we got Doc. We got Doc.
Yeah,
that's not answering the question.
Have you ever put in an application for an apartment in one of Donald Sterling's buildings? Did it go through?
I'm happy we got Doc.
If you were Doc, would you work for Donald Sterling?
Yeah, why not? Because the Clippers are a great team regardless of, you know, Sterling's beliefs and how he runs his team, or whether he's cheap or whatever they believe. I mean, I think they're doing good things right now.
Well, what he's saying is that he's not great with black people. That's what he's saying.
I understand what he's saying, and I was trying to jump around it, but
why you trying to jump around it, Nick? Why you can't stay right here and talk about it?
You're talking about my team. You're talking about my team.
I'm talking about Donald Sterling's team. You and Donald Sterling.
If we're going to talk about any teams in general, sports teams, most of the owners are questionable, at least, of how they treat black people.
So how long have you been a dancer? How long have you been a dancer, Nick? How long have you been dancing, man? You're dancing like hell right now.
I'm good. I can move around.
Were you a fan of your wife, Mariah Carey, as a youngster?
I was definitely a huge Mariah Carey fan. I remember seeing her videos at like 12, 13 years old. You know, that's that puberty stage. And I was like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. So I would, you know, I had her posters on my wall. I would, you know, in my locker, I would hang up her pictures and stuff like that. So to be able to marry my dream girl is amazing.
Well, that has to be surreal. Your first date has to be kind of surreal, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I was nervous beyond belief, man. And I'm usually not a cat that's too nervous. So that was probably one of the few times in my life where I was a little shook.
So what do you do when your wife plays you one of her new songs and it's whack?
It's Mariah Carey. She's never really played a whack song. They're all good. It's like some are just better than others. But I give my honest opinion. I mean, some of them I'll be like, hey, that one is a smash, and that one's like, oh, that one's cool. So we're honest with each other. It's usually me playing my music to her is where she just be like, that's awful. Please don't ever bring that in the house again.
Well, she doesn't take it serious when people say things about her. How do you feel hearing people say things about your wife?
Oh, yeah, I don't play that. You know what I mean? So that's got me in trouble quite a few times. But it's like, I feel like it's respect. I feel like if you say something about anyone, that should be something you should be able to say to that person's face. And that's kind of what upsets me a lot of times, because people often, you know, they hide behind, you know, these computer screens, or, you know, they make these statements and feeling like they never have to own up to it. I come from a place where, yo, say whatever you want to say, but be able to man up behind that statement. Don't run from that statement when somebody has a rebuttal about it.
I read a press release where Eminem, speaking of that, is going to be in a new episode of Wilding Out. If I had told you a few years ago that that was going to happen, your response would have been what?
I would have wanted it. I'm the one that kind of put that out there as well. I want him to be on the episode. We've been, we kind of went to his team, talked to him and stuff like that. We didn't get a confirmed no. I always say I think that he might be scared. But that's not just because of him. I think I think a lot of industry cats are scared to come on Wildin' Out because that stage is raw right there, and you're in there with all of these comedians and people going crazy. But that's the thing. Like Eminem said some harsh things. I had a rebuttal, and it's no love lost. I'm still a fan of his music and everything like that. But I still feel like as a man, he should have to own up for the things that he said.
What's the angriest that he ever made you in your back and forth?
I would honestly say I definitely was rubbed the wrong way when I initially heard the song, heard the first song he came out with, and the things he was saying about my wife, and I was like, yo, that's just mad disrespectful. And I went and wrote like this 4-page blog about, just based off of the thing and how he treats women and the things he says to women. And I probably went a little overboard, but it was just out of passion. It was just, for my wife and just trying to stand up and be the best husband I could be.
Did you think about going to see him?
Oh, absolutely. I wanted to go see him. At the time, I mean, cooler heads prevail, but that was my thing. I was like, and it wasn't even, I just wanted him to be like, yo, if you're going to say this about me and my wife and my family on a record, I want you to say that to my face. And, and just, like, if that's how you feel, because everybody's like, oh, it's just entertainment. I was like, yo, there's a fine line between entertainment and reality. And I feel like he had crossed the line early on.
Nick, my father has one last question for you. Go ahead, Poppy.
Yes.
What is the most embarrassed you have been on a stage?
Oh, probably. I mean, I'm a stand-up comic, so over the course of my career, I've been booed plenty of times. I remember probably one time when I was opening for Dave Chappelle, we were on the road together, and one of the skits, he actually on his show made fun of me, and